I'm Dowd-Higgins. Thank you for listening to Your Working Life, my podcast series featuring thought leaders in the career and personal growth arena. Now, I know that you spend a significant portion of your life at work, so my goal is to provide you with tools, inspiration, and resources so you can enjoy your career and love your life. And I am delighted to welcome my very special guest to the show today, Gopi Kallayil. Gopi, welcome. It's so good to have you on the show.
Thank you, Carolyn. Such an honor and delight to be on this show.
So I want to tell everybody a little bit about you. You are the chief evangelist and brand marketing consultant, not consultant, you are the guy at Google. And you work with Google's sales team and customers to help grow customer brands through digital marketing. And in your prior roles, you worked as chief evangelist for Google, and you led the marketing team for the company's flagship advertising product, AdWords, in the Americas and Asia Pacific, and the marketing team for AdSense, Google's publisher-facing product. And your website is kallayil.com, Kallayil.com. And Gopi, you have an extraordinary new book called The Internet to the Inner Net, and I'm eager to dive into a wonderful conversation. So start by telling us, what exactly is the Internet, and what's its connection to what we know as the Internet?
Well, the Internet, Carolyn, is the set of outer technologies that has given us enormous power and capability over the last few years, whether it's your smartphone or the fact that you can watch and sit through millions of YouTube videos, or even the fact that this podcast is possible and we can get great ideas, information, wisdom to lots of people. So everybody understands the internet, and huge, more than 2 billion people are on it and using it constantly. But in the midst of it, I started thinking about the inner set of technologies. And it's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek reference of calling it inner technologies. But the thought struck me that in the midst of everything we do, Caroline, the most important resource each one of us gets to use every single day is the one that is inside of us, meaning our brain, our body, our breath, our physical energy. All of that put together is what really allows us to both express ourselves, do creative, absolutely fantastic things, and enjoy life and find the fullness of life. So that's what I'm referring to in terms of when I call it the inner technologies. It's your brain, your body, your breath.
Got it. Love that. So, Gopi, take us back a little bit and tell me about your story and how it helped you really put the book together.
Well, the premise of it started by the fact that my professional secular education has led me through engineering school and business school and a successful career in tech companies in Silicon Valley, most recently at Google. And I greatly enjoy the kind of creative innovation that comes out of the colleagues I work with, plus the whole ecosystem of companies in this industry that is constantly bringing out new ways by which human beings can connect with each other and express themselves and do things in amazingly new ways that we could not have done before. So, for example, this little thing that we have in the palm of our hands, our smartphones, which I call now the 79th organ in the human body, is almost like a remote control to the physical world. Meaning we click on a couple of links and all of a sudden a car is pulling us up to take us to a destination. Or we can order milk and it gets delivered, or we can buy the next great dress or piece of music that we want. All of that is fantastic. But it also, these technologies demand a lot from us in constant attention. They send information towards us and we are responding to it, and sometimes we feel overwhelmed. In complete paradoxical contrast to that, our inner technologies need to withdraw from all of this and need their moments of quiet in order to operate at a peak potential. They need rest and renewal and a certain amount of grounding every day, every week for us to perform in a peak state. So in this book, I'm really exploring my own experiments with how do I balance those two worlds, how do I live fully engaged with the world with so much being demanded from us in terms of our attention, in terms of our need to respond to these technologies and yet still create the spaciousness to take care of our inner technology so that our body and our brain and our creative thinking are always in a state of peak performance.
And Gopi, I really want to honor the full title of the book, The Internet to the Internet, and then the subtitle is 5 Ways to Reset Your Connection and Live a Conscious Life. And that's really so powerful. While the internet has probably played a big part in business success over the years, do you think it's being looked at more closely, more recently because of this digital age that we're living in?
Did you say the inner net or the internet?
The inner net. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The internet is something that human beings have peered into for throughout history. Ever since we've had an internet, meaning we've had a body and we have a mind and we have a thinking capability, human beings have spent time looking at it, and that's why there's all of these personal experimentation around whether it's food or exercise or sleep or modalities like meditation and contemplation. So whether it's the Buddha or Henry David Thoreau, throughout history, we can always see pointers to it. But it's, I think, become a little more to the forefront in people's imagination and consciousness, especially in this part of the world, both because I think there is an overall evolution where people are asking the question, what is this all about? What am I trying to do here? What is the way by which I can tap into my highest potential as a human being? And also, I think the demands are constantly going up on us from a very young age throughout our adult and professional life. And people are suddenly waking up to it and saying, how do I respond to this onslaught? How do I live in the midst of all this and still be present to my own life and my family and my friends around me? How do I live a full life in the midst of all of this?
You know, it's interesting. I've so enjoyed reading the book, and I just recently finished it. And there's a beautiful piece about the book that talks about it like a user's manual for the technology within. And just so our audience can imagine the book, and I hope they soon buy it and read it, it's divided into 5 wonderful parts. And the first part is called Log In, Mindful Ways of Connecting and Engaging. So Gopi, can you give us a little insight about that concept, being mindful, logging in, and why that's important?
Well, the concept of login is really an invitation to live a life of full engagement. Most of us who, the two of us in this conversation and the people listening to the podcast, I would imagine, are just blessed and privileged to have a really magnificent life around us in terms of where we are and what we can get to do and the opportunities. And login is simply when the door opens, walk through it and live life of full engagement in your personal life, in your professional life, in your spiritual life, and whether it is through looking at new experiences, through travel or seeking a new job or finding an interesting challenge to take on or running a first marathon or traveling to a remote Pacific island, whatever it is that you're called to do. Login is simply step into that sphere of full engagement. And you do it by realizing all of the inner potential you have, and you do it by tapping into all of the outer technologies that now enable us to do it on a scale and at a level which we couldn't have 20 years ago.
One of my favorite parts of the book is a section titled, I'm Feeling Lucky, Strategies for Trusting the Universe. And I know so many of our listeners are very career focused, they're very driven, they're passionate about advancement and growing their careers. And it can be hard for some of us, myself included, to let go and trust. Would you like to speak to that a bit?
Sure, yeah. So throughout the title section, there's where I purposely given the title and given where I work, there's a lot of play on technology-related terms, and hence terms like just Google it, or so the I feel lucky term came from the fact that on Google.com, one of the options that used to be there right from the early days was if you didn't want to wait through a set of results, if you click the I feel lucky button, you're trusting that Google will take you to the best web page that answers or gives you the information you're looking for. So it is a play on that concept. And in the book, what I'm asking readers to do and what I've explained in my own life is often I've had to trust and let go and things have turned out incredibly well. And it may not always be a conscious choice. Sometimes I just didn't have the choice. I just had to move towards a situation that I was forced to. And when all the choices were taken away from me, all that was left was going towards what was in front of me. And it's amazing how things have panned out. And sometimes I made a conscious choice. In fact, one of the stories I talk about is this goal I had set to see the Dalai Lama in person. And then the faintest hint of an opportunity emerged where it looked like somebody knew somebody and there might be a possibility of an appointment, but I didn't get any confirmation back. But I did. And I called a mentor of mine who said, look, Gopi, you had said this intention and the door is open.
Yeah.
You must walk through it. And I walked through it by flying 36 hours from here all the way to Dharamsala with no guarantee of an interview, hung around the Dalai Lama's house 3 days near his temple and monastery, and then I was blessed with a 45-minute conversation in his living room. So that's a great example of, and if I hadn't trusted and taken that first step of flying all the way, it would not have happened. But what I was also trusting there, Carolyn, was if it did not happen, I would still have come back with a great magical experience, the whole journey trying to get it, the place where I was being first time in a place like Dharamsala, all of that would still have been an amazing experience I would have taken with me for the rest of my life.
True. I do love that your mentor did share that you set your intention and you put it out into the universe. And I think that's beautiful. I think we really need to own and celebrate being intentional.
Exactly. Everything starts with an intention. I was teaching yoga yesterday on the Google campus to my group of yoga students called the Yoglers. It's the Googlers who practice yoga. And this is what I said before I started the class. I said, set an intention. Why are you doing yoga? What do you want to get out of the class? It's a simple thought process, but every one of them, I'm sure, was thinking about what is the intention, what they want to get. And periodically during the class, I kept reminding them, go back to your intention and see if the class is serving you, if your practice is serving you. Otherwise, reconnect with that intention. And that is important. And it's a simple exercise, doing it on a daily basis, doing it once a year, doing it even having a simple intention going into this recording. What do I want to get out of this interaction? What do you want to get out of this interaction? And thereby helping us orient the entire time around it and really serving our audience in the process.
Wonderful. I have this beautiful mental picture of the Yoglers. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Gopi, you write about the rituals and strategies that you've created in your own life to find quiet and stillness. I imagine you have a fast-paced life as well. So can you share a few of those strategies for our listeners that may be struggling to find that peace and that quiet and that moment of calm?
Absolutely. Yeah. I do have a pretty demanding schedule and life with my work, travel, and the pursuit of other interests, plus now writing the book and traveling the world speaking about it is only triple that workload. But in the midst of all this, like I said, it's our responsibility to carve out, to clear your calendar and create the spaciousness. And I found, Caroline, what worked best for me is to ritualize some of these things. So it almost becomes a habit. You don't have to think of it. Much like, brushing our teeth. No matter how tired we are, how sick we are, we might be traveling, we got off a plane, we might be jet lagged. In general, all of us will take the time to, brush our teeth and take care of personal hygiene. It's just as a habit. Right. In the same way, all of these traditions, rituals to connect your internet can also be ritualized, and that seems to work best for me. So here are a couple that I can share. You can stop me. There are 5 I usually talk about when I give a talk, but let me at least cover 3 very quickly. One of them is to commit yourself to at least 1 minute of something that connects you to your inner net on a daily basis. Just 1 minute, 60 seconds. And that's not a whole lot to ask. There are 1,440 minutes in a day. Make sure that at least one of them is to connect to your internet. So for me, my practices include yoga and meditation. So I have a commitment that I will do at least 1 minute of yoga, 1 minute of meditation. And that seems ridiculous, right? 1 minute, what do you really accomplish? But it is the discipline where every single day you can say, even if it's for a minute, if you do two sun salutations, and if you just sit quietly for a minute on your chair or on your couch and just pause, close your eyes, take a deep breath, you now have integrity saying every single day I've done something to connect to my inner net. So that 1 minute habit actually has helped me a lot. Although in practice, what happens is, day after day goes and you actually do it every single day. Plus, on many days, you easily go past the minute and are able to meditate for 10 or 15 or 20 minutes or do yoga for much longer, like I did today. The second ritual is to do one thing at a time. Because again, by trial and experiment, with all of these technologies in our hand, there's a tendency to do four different things at the same time. And I catch myself at meetings, I'm guilty of this myself, where somebody's presenting some information, and even as they're speaking, I'm responding to an email, and I've got 3 chat windows open and simultaneously trying to have lunch. And at the end of this time period, I did not quite catch all the nuances of what the presenter was speaking about. I couldn't tell you the taste of what I ate. My mind was not on it. And I probably sent an erroneous chat message in the wrong window. And we all do that. This state, what Linda Stone calls continuous partial attention. And we go through our work life and our personal life with this continuous fragmented attention. But our inner technologies, our brain body, seems to function the best when you ask it to do one thing and just focus on this one thing. This is why we will never see a virtuous violinist practicing while simultaneously watching ESPN and CNN on TV. They don't. They just focus on the music piece. And that's how the best work from human beings emerge. So bringing your attention to just one thing at a time is another simple ritual. And the third one is among the 168 hours or so in a week, I ask everyone to at least block 1 hour on the calendar. So it's making an appointment with yourself for deeper version of the practice. Because when something shows up as an appointment in our calendar, we are more likely to honor it. And usually those appointments are set up by other people and then moving their goals forward. So why not make a few appointments with yourself? And when I say an appointment, it has to be a fixed day of the week and a fixed time of the week, and hold it sacred. That 1 hour is non-negotiable. Week after week, you hold yourself accountable to that one commitment. Tell your colleagues, tell your family, and try to do it. So in my own case, it is teaching yoga at 5:30 on Monday. And I've been at Google almost 10 years, and I haven't missed a single class in the 10 years.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So that's my one commitment, and I will honor it. Unless I'm traveling, I'm not physically here, in which case the class still goes on. Somebody else will teach on my behalf. But to the community of yoglers, that is one guaranteed service. Monday 5:30, there will always be that free community yoga class available to them.
And you're honoring yourself because you find great joy in that practice.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a concept called karma yoga, yoga of selfless service, which is a big philosophical construct in the yoga tradition, and I talk about it in the book.
Oh, that's wonderful. So, Gopi, what's the one lesson, perhaps the most important lesson, that you would like for people to take away from this incredible new book?
Okay. The biggest lesson that I want people to take away is this, Caroline, that even as the world races forward with amazing new technologies, from artificial intelligence to virtual reality to smartphones in everyone's hand, the most important technology each one of us will use every single day is what is inside us, our inner technology or our inner net, our brain, our mind, our thinking, our emotional states. And the quality of our life is determined by the quality of these inner technologies, because everything we experience in our life, whether it's food we eat, music we listen to, or a piece of literature we read, has to be processed by this technology. So understanding how our inner net works and incorporating some rituals that allow these inner technologies to work, to always be in a state of peak performance. Through whatever modality that works for you. I'm not going to prescribe it. I can tell you what I have used, but I want the audience to select from the vast menu that is available and incorporate into the life and ritualize it. Seems to be a great formula for living a beautiful, joyous, conscious life for full engagement.
Well, Gopi, I want to thank you for this incredible book. It has been transformative for me on a personal level, and I want to encourage all of our listeners to read it. Again, the title is The Internet to the Internet: 5 Ways to Reset Your Connection and Live a Conscious Life. So tell us how we can buy the book and connect with you online.
Well, thank you, Carolyn. First of all, thank you for inviting me to this podcast. It's such a joy and delight to be here. The book is easily found wherever books are found, so I would always say Google it.
Google it, absolutely.
Yeah. If you just Google the internet to the internet, it'll take you to a number of sources, including my own website. But it's available on Amazon. It's available in all of Barnes& and Nobles and Target.com, plus in physical bookstores around the country. And it's also available in electronic form on Kindle, Google Books, on iTunes Store. So whatever be the most convenient source for the listener, they should be able to easily find the book.
Wonderful. And you are quite a prolific writer beyond the book. You've got a lot of social media engagement out there. So I would encourage all of our listeners to follow you and the great content that you put out into the world. It is truly, truly wonderful.
Absolutely, and I'm willing to make this offer also, Caroline. If you'd welcome it, maybe the first 10 people, they want to contact me in some form, social media. Otherwise, I'm happy to send them a signed copy of the book for free.
Well, that is so generous, Gopi. Thank you very much, and I'm sure that the listeners will jump at that. It is a very generous offer, and I am grateful that you extended that. My friend, thank you so much. What a great opportunity to speak with you. The book is really, really powerful. Again, the title, The Internet to the Internet: 5 Ways to Reset Your Connection and Live a Conscious Life. Gopi Kallayil, thank you so much. What a joy to have you on and to get to know you. I wish you continued success. I will be dreaming about the Yoglers, and I hope our paths cross in person someday soon.
Thank you, Caroline. It's been my pleasure.
And I want to thank all of you for tuning in to Your Working Life, where my goal is to help you design your career destiny so it doesn't happen by default. Career and life satisfaction is possible, and it's time to embrace what you love doing so you can do more of it. My show is now available on iTunes, YouTube, Podbean, and Stitcher. Leave a comment because I always appreciate hearing from my listeners. I'm Caroline Dowd-Higgins. Take good care.